You ever have one of those days when you realize everything you thought you were doing right as a parent might just be the very thing steering your kid wrong? I mean, you spend years thinking you're building this rock-solid family, but one crack in the foundation and the whole house rattles. That's where my story begins. A normal day, a perfect neighborhood, two families bound by friendship, and, as fate would have it, a secret that would turn both our worlds upside down. You ready? Let me take you back to Elia, a town that's as quiet as a Sunday morning, where everyone thinks nothing bad could ever happen. My best friend Gloria and I, we'd known each other since college, thick as thieves, gone through every storm life could throw at us. Lost jobs, weddings, raising kids, even years when we lived on opposite coasts. But somehow life pulled us back to the same street after we both got married. I stayed home to run my household like a general, pouring my whole self into raising my only daughter. Edora, sweet, soft-spoken, always did what she was told, or so I thought. Gloria? She worked long hours in the city, always had a joke ready. Her laugh could wake the neighbors. Her son, Tachika, was the exact opposite of my girl, full of questions, always poking around, you know the type. We used to joke, "Look at your husband, Edora," whenever Tachika dropped by. Gloria would nudge her son and wink. "There's my in-law." Seemed harmless at the time, but words are funny like that. Plant them deep enough, and you never know what might take root. Our kids went to the same junior high, different classes, but they met up every day. I kept Edora close, strict rules about where she could go, who she could talk to, how late she could stay up. No entering my bedroom without knocking. Privacy was important. Gloria, on the other hand, ran her house loose. She and her husband got home late, bedroom doors left open, no big deal to them. They thought, what's the harm, right? But those little things, they matter more than you know. What Gloria didn't see was that sometimes Tachika would wander into their room at night once, twice, more often than he'd ever admit. He'd catch a glimpse of things a kid shouldn't see, nothing ever explained, just get out, barked over his shoulder. No one sat him down, no one told him what was going on, and curiosity, well, it grew like wildfire. He started lingering by their door, listening. And later, when everyone was asleep, he'd pull out his sketchbook and draw what he'd heard, what he thought he'd seen. He didn't really understand any of it, but it sparked something inside him, a curiosity, confusion, a kind of secret that felt too big for his own skin. One day he whispered, maybe Edora would like to see. After all, we'd joke for years they'd get married someday, right? I'll never forget that afternoon. The two of them sitting cross-legged on my living room rug, a board game scattered between them, me in the kitchen with no idea what was about to happen. "Do you know what mommies and daddies do at night?" Tachika asked, low and serious, like he'd discovered the meaning of life. Edora blinked, not sure what to say. He leaned in closer, described what he'd seen, the positions, the sounds, everything. Edora just stared, a mixture of disbelief and a weird curiosity flickering in her eyes. Then he pulled out his sketchbook. "Look," he said, showing her the secret drawings. Edora's face changed, unsettled, but she didn't say a word. She handed the book back slowly. And just like that, something invisible but powerful shifted between them. That night, Edora hovered around the kitchen, clearly troubled. "Mommy, what do parents do at night in their room?" she finally asked, eyes wide. My hand shook. I shut her down so fast. "That's not a question for you," I snapped. I could see the hurt in her face, the confusion, but I told myself I was protecting her. She went to bed hugging her pillow, wrestling with questions she was too young to answer. By morning, I could tell something inside her had changed. At school the next day, Edora found Tachika under the big mango tree and asked to talk more about what he'd shown her. And so began a routine. Every break, every lunch, they'd find quiet corners to talk, to whisper, to share secrets kids shouldn't be sharing. It didn't take long before curiosity turned into ritual, a few stolen minutes together in the far toilets, just long enough to feed this strange new bond, neither understanding what it meant, but both drawn to it. But every secret leaves a trail. There was another girl in Edora's class, Eugenua, the observant type, daughter of a nurse who wasn't afraid to talk about the tough stuff at home. She noticed Edora's distracted stares, The way she'd disappear right after Tachuku, the extra-long bathroom breaks. One afternoon, Eugenua confronted her. "Why do you always leave class after Tachuku passes by?" Adora got defensive, snapped back, but the suspicion lingered. That night, Eugenua wrestled with what to do. By the next day, she decided she couldn't ignore it anymore. She told the teacher. The school sprang into action, and that's when everything unraveled. The principal, stern as a judge, marched down to the bathrooms and banged on the cubicle door. "Come out now," she barked. At first, silence. Then two terrified kids emerged, faces red, eyes low, the secret out in the open for the first time. The calls to the parents were immediate. Gloria and I sat in the principal's office, shame and confusion written all over our faces. The story spilled out, nothing physical had happened, but the conversations, the drawings, the secrecy, it was enough to rock us to the core. The principal's words cut deep. Children learn more for what you do than what you say. Be careful what you expose them to. The verdict: both kids suspended for a month. At home, my husband was furious. "This boy dragged our daughter into something shameful," he yelled. But when Adora finally told the whole story, breaking down in tears, I realized the truth. She tried to ask me. She tried to reach out, but I was too afraid to talk, too strict, too quick to shut her down. That's where I'd failed her. Gloria and her husband came to our house the next morning to apologize. "We failed to guard our home," Gloria whispered, hands shaking. My husband wanted to call the police, press charges, but in the end, we decided the best thing we could do was give our daughter a fresh start, new town, new school, new beginning. In our new home, I became a different kind of mother. No more shutting down the tough questions. We talked about everything: bodies, boundaries, feelings, mistakes. The shame faded. The guilt lifted. Adora slowly became herself again, more confident, less afraid. Now, I'll tell you something, this story, it isn't fiction for a lot of families. Silence isn't protection, and ignorance isn't innocence. If you don't talk to your kids about the hard stuff, someone or something else will, and it may not be the truth. So I'll leave you with this. Who's teaching your child when you're silent? Are you watching closely or just hoping for the best? Don't wait for damage before you open the door. And now I want to hear from you. Was what we did right? Should we have pressed charges or just moved on? Is it the school's job to teach or the family's? Drop your thoughts below. Let's have a real conversation about justice, community, and how we raise our kids.